What's up, guys, and welcome back to Tech Plan. Today we're going to be taking a look at the outdoor garden. Let's check it out. All right, so this is going to be a live recording, basically no voiceover. I'm just out here speaking into the mic that I have, so it should be on the fly, but still pretty interesting and cool. This is the entire garden that you're looking at. It's quite long. I would say probably like maybe 40 feet. It's hard to get the perspective in with this camera here, but I'm growing quite a variety of different stuff, and we'll be able to get some up-close shots too as well. But for the most part, it's just got a wide variety of stuff. This first section here is all tomato plants that actually sprouted up just on their own. I think they're called volunteer plants. So in previous years, I just sort of let plants rot away, and there's tomatoes that fall on the ground, and so they sprout up every year, and that's just what I grow at this point. I haven't bought tomato plants in a while. I just wait for them to sprout up and I transplant them. So I'm trying some sort of mound system. It seems to be working pretty good. I do have them sort of wired up. The previous years I've just let them fall over, and that hasn't worked very well. You lose a lot of tomatoes, but you can start to see we're already getting some here. They're probably behind most people's gardens because in Wisconsin, I literally wait for them to sprout up. And it takes some time. I mean, they don't instantly sprout up. I think a lot of it's going to be cherry tomatoes and those little like yellow cherry tomatoes. So they're doing pretty good. You can see there's quite a variety, and we do have another patch. The only problem with volunteer tomatoes is you're not really sure what you're going to get. So we'll see as they ripen up. If you know anything about garden plants, you probably can already identify these. Are pretty obvious, but these are zucchini. I do have a few different varieties here. I've got some yellow ones, some green ones, and some Korean ones, and we'll get a closer look, but you can see there's a little bit of a different style here, and I'll illustrate that in the close-up. All right, so it might be hard to see on the actual camera here, but you can sort of see these are spreading out a little bit. They're taking over and like spreading across the ground. These are more of a vining style here, and these are going to be the Korean style ones. So you can see there's quite a bit of them in here. I don't know how hard it's going to be to get focused, but they're growing quite well. And again, these are going to travel across the ground more so. Here, you can kind of see they're all inside here. See them? They're kind of all over. But you'll see these more crown style zucchini plants, and you'll see some bigger ones growing back there. So here's a wider shot, and you can see how these are more upright. These have been getting a lot bigger, like typical green zucchinis. However, you'll see some are experiencing that blossom end rot, and I believe I need some more calcium, but I have gotten some good ones off of here, so I haven't added anything yet. You can see more so in here. Let's try and get this exposure bumped. You can see I'm starting to get quite a bit. I already did pluck a few big ones, and you can see there's some big guys right there. So it might be tough to see, but there's some sizable ones, and we've pulled a lot out. There's some more Korean ones down there, but there's quite a good variety. This might be a little shaky, so I apologize, but we're doing it live. Here's these yellow ones I talked about. These are also more of a, what I would call the crown style. So got some here, and then we got some weird cucumbers. A family, well, my cousin actually gave me these. They're like a lemon cucumber or something like that. They're a little strange. Haven't gotten any big enough to eat yet, but should be pretty cool. All right, I'm not gonna go stand like behind these like I did with the zucchini here, because the zucchini, I just wanted you to get a kind of an idea of the size. But these are just little bean plants. I believe I have two varieties. You can see sort of a darker green and a lighter green. One of them I think is the more like vining style, while the other one is like bush beans. And so they grow differently. The bush beans usually just stay like a little compact bush, and they produce a lot of beans. So you can see we're getting pretty close to harvest here. If not, I should probably be harvesting them. But there are truly beans everywhere in here. It's kind of tough to tell, but I really like green beans, so I'm really excited. The vining style, oh, this is a weed here. I don't know what this guy is. We'll pull him out. The vining style, see how this one's actually wrapping across this weed here? And you can see how it's vining out more. So that's what they usually do. They'll crawl around and do their thing. You can see they're a little more behind the bush beans. And then in here, again, if it's really shaky, sorry about that, but I also have some random volunteer tomato plants that I haven't taken out yet, and the beans are kind of crawling up them, so it's kind of working out. But maybe you can see back here, the bush beans, they're really producing a whole lot of beans. I'm quite excited. Probably gonna freeze a lot of these up. All right, I don't know if you've noticed, but we've just kind of been moving down the line. So we started over there with all the tomatoes, zucchinis, beans, and now we're here at the carrots. They're pretty tightly planted here. I've been fertilizing them. I don't think we're gonna get anything like huge, you know, just because of the fact that they're so tightly planted. And it was more of like an experiment, I would say, because I just kind of maybe not an experiment, but I got a little lazy planting. After planting all the beets and all the everything else, it was kind of like, let's just spread them and see what happens. You can sort of see there's some carrot in there. I don't think these are quite ready yet, but maybe we can see how much we can reveal here. So it looks pretty short and stubby. Okay, there's still some carrot there. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's not a massive carrot, but it's pretty good. I mean, it's bigger than a baby carrot, so that's cool. I don't know how deep it's gonna go, but we'll know more when I actually harvest these. And Lord knows if that's just the edge ones that are big, where the inner ones might be pretty small. It's really hard to say. And the patch is not that big, so I don't know. We maybe have like 30 or 40 carrots here if they're successful, and that'll be pretty good to eat. This patch is empty. This was just like a Korean radish. We already harvested a bunch and made some kimchi out of it. And we just harvested a second batch that we let get a lot more mature. I'll throw some pictures on screen. They looked really weird though, almost like teeth or something. I don't know what happened to them, but whatever. We can move on to the next section. So this next section is beets. And again, we're just moving down the line here. So went from the carrots to where the radishes used to be. These are all beets. We have been harvesting some to just eat. You can kind of eat them almost like Swiss chard or something, like the actual like leaves. So we harvested some leaves as we went through, but we got some decently sizable beets. Nothing amazing. Again, this is another like first time growing right here for me. Beets are not something I've grown before on any real level, but there's I mean, they're not horrible, right? They're decent sized. There's some bigger ones mixed in there. Let's see what we got here. Hard to kind of, you can see there's a, well, you might not be able to see anything, but it's a small little beet. So at least we got something. I'm excited. And they're doing pretty good. And we'll probably have maybe, I don't know, what is that, 30 beets or something? There's a pretty good amount in there. So we'll move on to the next section though. All right, next up looks a little messy. I kind of didn't keep up on the weeding on this section. These are all onions and some small soft neck garlic. And we'll see a few interesting things here. As far as how I started these onions, like everything else you've seen is started from seed or volunteer, meaning they came from last year. The onions though are from onion starts. So they're like little tiny onions you plant and it sort of speeds up the process. They all fell over, weirdly enough. I don't know why, but you can see they've got a decent sized onion. Nothing too small, but nothing to write home about. Definitely aren't really big like in the grocery stores, but I mean, it cost me, I think, like $2 or $3 for all the onion starts. I think I planted like a total of 70 onions in here. We already ate some, so even if it's not that big, I think it's still definitely worth the investment. I actually really love growing onions and garlic because I think they're pretty easy. And that brings us over to our mini garlic section. These are all soft neck. Again, kind of mixed in here. I'll show you something kind of cool though. This has been really interesting. A lot of people are reporting this in Wisconsin this year. It must be the conditions, but the garlic is producing these like bulbs above ground as well as in the ground. So let me try and dig this out quick. So if we dig this out like so, look at this. You can see we got our first bulb here and our second little bulb like midway. It's actually quite awkward looking and really weird, but they all fell over and they fell over and then they did this. So I don't know. It's like I heard you can plant all these. There's like really little bulbs here. So eat this, plant that. And you'll see even further in the garden, if you look here, oh, almost fell. This one actually managed to flower and produce some more of the plantable bulbs up here. Nothing in the mid thing, so maybe, I don't know, you're supposed to cut the scapes off, but I haven't been paying a lot of attention. All right, this next section is like my ultimate prize. This is all hardneck garlic. I've been trying to grow my numbers of garlic for 2 years now. So I started with 2 heads of garlic and I've been multiplying them for 2 years, and here's where we're at now. So I've worked really hard to get this many garlic so I can finally start eating them. But it's really cool with garlic. You can just take each clove from a head and plant them, so you can multiply them pretty quickly. Now, these aren't really that ready yet, but I just want to show you how big these are in comparison to those soft neck. This actually might be too hard to do one-handed. All right, so I pretty much pre-dug this out because I didn't want you guys to wait and watch, and I'm running out of footage. But there's that soft neck that we plucked earlier. And here's our hard neck. You can see it's substantially bigger. So I really like this hard neck garlic because you just get so much more. It takes up a little more space in the garden, but I think it's totally worth it because you're not peeling these like tiny little cloves. So it's really awesome stuff. All right, to the left are shallots. They work a lot like garlic, where they start to divide, so you can keep some and replant some. So I really love them. However, I made the mistake of letting them all flower this year. And because I let them flower, I'll kind of give you I'll show you what they look like once they flower. You get like a less than desirable, well, this one's not horrible, but it's a really small shallot. Usually it can be much bigger. Let me show you. All right, so these ones did not flower, so in theory they should be bigger. And as you can see, they're like substantially bigger. Where's the other one here? We'll just rip one out. Can you see the difference? One that flowers and one that doesn't. If you don't cut that flower off, they put way too much energy into the flower, and then you get the smaller bulbs, which sucks because you're not really going to want to eat this little guy, which I'll just save and replant for next year. So again, that's the cool thing about shallots, is you can plant one shallot and you get about 4. So not the end of the world. We just basically made some for next year. But either way, these are some decently sized shallots right here. So nothing to be too disappointed about. All right, just to give you some perspective as to where we're at here. We've worked our way quite a bit down this garden, and we are to almost the end basically. Got a lot of volunteer tomato plants. These are getting unruly. I didn't tie them up. Back here I have something called gnat growing, but I started from seed this year and they just did not do well. And it's too shaded, and we've been kind of plucking, so not really much on the gnat front. It's a Korean like leaf. It's really good. We've been growing a lot of different like romaine lettuce here. That's been really good. We're eating romaine lettuce like every single day. Got a lot of kale growing, which is really awesome. Again, we're eating this like every day. And then here's some more tomato plants I've sort of tied up. These ones won't fall over nicely. But again, not much different from the, not much different from the other side. Just a bunch of volunteer tomato plants. And again, lots of romaine. Like I said, this has been awesome. We eat bowls of this stuff every day. I love it. More of the kale. And then just some more lettuce. So it's been really good for leafy greens. We eat it with like some gepsel and stuff, and it's just been awesome. So that's pretty much the garden. I know not a lot of you care about outdoor gardens, but I know some of you expressed interest. So hopefully this garden tour was good, but I'm pretty much out of breath here. So yeah. Well guys, that pretty much sums up this video. Like I said, I'm like out of breath. It's hot out. I'm walking around with the camera. I'm tired. That was pretty much all you really need to see with this garden. There's not that much going on, but still it's pretty cool. I have expanded it a lot since last year, and I'm going to try and expand it again as I learn more. I don't really make much videos about this stuff because I don't know a lot about it yet, so until I really get a handle on it, I won't probably ever produce outdoor content other than this kind of stuff. But I hope you enjoy these once in a while ones, you know. And as always, may your plants grow strong and healthy. I'll see you next time.